Hello, sixth graders. I hope you listened to the story of the emperors who ruled after Nero. One of them was Emperor Titus, and during his reign, Mount Vesuvius erupted and buried one of the Roman towns underneath its ashes. Here is the map and the location of Pompeii. It would take us 2 hours and 37 minutes to travel by car from Rome to Pompeii. Long ago, it would have taken a bit longer to go there by cart, by horse, or by foot. Pompeii rises on a plateau at about 30 meters above sea level. That plateau was formed by a flow of Vesuvian lava long time ago. In the back, you see Mount Vesuvius, and here you see the ruins of Pompeii. The origins of the city remain uncertain. The oldest evidence available dates back to the 7th century BC, when the first city wall was made out of tuff, a light volcanic rock. Tuff is spelled Tuff. The walls enclosed an area twice as big as the area of our whole school property. A mixed population of Etruscans, Greeks, and native people developed the city and built in time a fortified limestone wall. In 80 BC, Pompeii became a Roman colony by the name of Cornelia Veneria Pompeianorum. It was named in honor of Pompey, the famous general and one of the members of the triumvirate, along with Julius Caesar and Crassus. Once the colony was founded, Pompeii was enriched with private and public buildings, especially under the ruling of Caesar Augustus and Emperor Tiberius. See the Roman road and the buildings on either side and the arches. This is an interior of the house. A violent earthquake struck in 62 AD and shook the entire area surrounding Mount Vesuvius. The people rebuilt their city and continued to live there. Near the mountain, they found nutrient-rich soil for farming and wonderful hot springs where they could take warm baths. In general, few people in the Roman city of Pompeii paid much attention to the earthquakes. You see, they had suffered through seismic activity in the past and had rebuilt their city whenever any significant damage happened. Since many of the earthquakes were minor, people had grown accustomed to them. They loved their beautiful city and would not leave just because the ground occasionally shook or a building fell down. Back then, there was no way to predict or understand volcanoes. People told stories to explain the dangerous earthshakes and eruptions. They believed volcanoes were the forges where lightning bolts were made. In fact, the word volcano comes from the name of the Roman god Vulcan, who made the lightning bolts and used his smithy to deliver one of his metaphorical messages to the mortals. Even today, volcanologists, people that study volcanoes, say that volcanoes smell like the blacksmith's forge. No one connected the trembling ground with the wisp of smoke that steadily hissed from the nearby Mount Vesuvius. After all, people had lived in Pompeii for centuries without ever witnessing a volcanic eruption. The slopes of the Mount Vesuvius were carpeted with trees, flowers, and grass. It had been 1,000 years since the volcano had erupted, so most people assumed that it was dormant or even extinct. But everything changed on August 24th, 79 AD, around 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Suddenly, a huge explosion shook the area around the mountain. Dust, ash, and melted rock spewed from the summit of the volcano, darkening the sky. This dust, ash, and stone, collectively known as tephra, 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 blanketed the city, covering the ground as far away as 10 miles from the mountain. By 3 o'clock, lava began pouring from the mouth of the volcano, destroying everything in its path. By 6 o'clock, the cloud of dust and ash had ascended to a height of 20 miles, darkening the sky and the powerful energy inside it generating lightning bolts. The ash continued to fall over the area, covering the ground to a depth of more than 3 feet. Buildings collapsed under the weight of the falling debris. People in the cities surrounding Mount Vesuvius tried to flee as the volcano demolished their homes and farms. They gathered their most portable treasures and hurried their families away from the disaster. Some people tried to walk over the thick layers of ash, but the ash was so deep and hot that many people died. Others were struck and killed by stones falling from the dark sky. Many choked to death on the ash-clogged air and dust-clogged air. Around midnight, the crisis grew even worse. The massive cloud of ash, poisonous gases, glowing hot dust, and smoke had become so huge and heavy that it could no longer stay in the air. The cloud collapsed and raced down the mountain at speeds up to 310 miles per hour. This was only the first surge cloud. Within a few moments, people in the cities of Pompeii and Herculaneum were scorched and buried by the collapsing cloud. As more dust and ash billowed from the volcano, more surge clouds followed. When the eruption was over, 2 cities of the Roman Empire were completely buried and wiped off the face of the earth. They would not be found again for more than 1,000 years. As the bodies of the victims decayed over time, they left pockets of air in the hardened ash and mud that surrounded them. These air pockets preserved the exact shapes of the bodies they once contained. Archaeologists filled the holes with plaster to make casts, showing how the people looked when they died. Here is another one. The city was rediscovered at the end of 16th century, but explorations only began in 1748 under the King of Naples, Charles III of Bourbon. Since then, the excavations continued systematically, and you will see in slideshow few things discovered in 2018. All the pictures that you will see will give you examples of buildings, sculptures, paintings, mosaics, and other objects you could have found in Pompeii more than 2,000 years ago. Here you see a wooden cart, marble benches, and amphoras. Here you see 2 amphoras in front of a wall painting. Another wall painting. An entrance doorway discovered in 2009. A bird painting. You will see the detail in the next slide. Look at these beautiful paintings and the wonderful colors that preserved so well. Here is a hunting scene on a red background. What a rich red. A painting of a bird. And a fresco of two gladiators at the end of the fight. This upright gladiator must be the winner, and this one is the one that succumbs. This is a lion head waterspout that was found during the 2018 excavations. Here are 14 coins that were found in a leather pouch. Historians think that this money would be sufficient for 2 people for 1 month. Some of them are made of silver and some of them are made of bronze. And here is a bronze pot, which was also found during the 2018 excavations, along with these clay pots and bowls. Look at their colors and their different shapes. Roman people loved their jewelry. And here is a street fountain. If you get to travel to Europe and you go to the rural areas, you will see fountains on the streets. People dig their own fountains, but they do not keep them enclosed within their boundaries of their property, but they leave them out on the street so people could enjoy them. Another interior of the house. Another painted room. And you will see this shrine in great detail in the next slide. And here are the temples, the ruins of the temples. This is the temple of Apollo with the altar. And this is a model of the ruins of the temple of Jupiter. And this is how the historians think this temple looked more than 2,000 years ago, before the eruption of Mount Vesuvius. I hope you enjoyed the slideshow and learned more about Pompeii, the city that was buried under the ashes when Mount Vesuvius erupted in 79 AD during the reign of Titus.